Welcome, welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I haven't been online a little bit. We've had a bit of an internet connection problem with the rainy season where I am. So anyway, I'm back now, and I'm excited to share an experiment that I have just come out of. And that was, I decided to go back to being vegan again for 3 to 4 days. I lasted about 4 in the morning, because what happened was let's say, it certainly cemented in my mind that veganism was the cause of a lot of the problems I began to have at the end of end-stage veganism, but also throughout the previous few years. And all the things that I was particularly suffering from in the last year came back with a vengeance. Not straight away, mind you, but they did come back. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to dispel all this. I still keep getting vegans saying to me, you haven't done it right. You didn't do this. You were raw. You were this. You know, I was raw, but I also did have some cooked vegan food occasionally. You know, it could be 10 days out of 365. So, 355 days it is. I mean, it's quite ridiculous when people want to get percentages. Nonetheless, and it was very balanced. I did not eat any junk food whatsoever. No fake vegan food, no Beyond Burgers and Beyond Meats and all these things that were fake meat substitutes. None of those. I just was not attracted. I mean, when you look at the ingredients of those, that's enough to not want to eat them. So, yeah, not even vegan cakes and things like that. Did not eat any of that stuff. So it was really very much centered around fruit and vegetables primarily, okay? And sprouted things, sprouted chickpeas, sprouted legumes that were very supposedly high in proteins and enzymes, of course. So let's get back to the story. I decided, and this wasn't an intentional thing. It came about because I couldn't get out to get some supplies, and I thought, gosh, I've got so much vegan stuff, food still here. I'm going to eat some. And I'm on an organic property where there are just fruit trees loaded with mulberries, papayas, soursops, pineapples, little tangerines, little oranges. So I thought, wow, it's all here. And a year ago, I would probably really put a dent in a lot of that that's growing around, I'd be eating it, every day, and a moderate quantity for sure, not a small amount, a moderate to large amount. All right, so anyway, I started off and had mulberries, just a small bowl, mulberries, papaya, pineapple. I also soaked some grains and buckwheat. And we've also got a very large vegetable garden. So I went out and picked some fresh produce there, some zucchinis, lots of different greens, cabbages, some Asian greens, very unusual ones, Thai ones. So anyway, I had a good selection and lots of salad greens and tomatoes, some cooked eggplant I had too. It's a bit of a nightshade, but I only had it once. But anyway, after the first meal of fruit and followed by some salad and some, steamed buckwheat and some sprouted chickpeas that I cooked. I soaked the chickpeas overnight. Within about 30 minutes, I started getting some cramping, which I did not like. And I think that was because my microbiome had changed, because, I've been eating predominantly meat for the last 3 months. And so, so a bit of a change. So I stuck with it, and I had a little bit of fermented foods as well. But that night, I definitely did not sleep as well. And then I got up because I was starting to feel a bit of anxiety come on. And you know, even though I'd finished eating about 3 to 4 hours, no, 3 hours before I went to bed, but this very low level anxiety started to come on, and I just did not like it. I was like, oh no. So consequently, I did not sleep very well. Second day, I woke with just feeling bloated and heavy, and bowel movement was okay. But then, of course, when I had another meal, it's very similar, lots of salads, bit of fruit to begin with, the bloating started. So it was the second day that I just got bloated straight away, and this dragging, heavy feeling. So that began. And then the second night I started to get some aching in my joints, which really surprised me. And I didn't like the feeling at all that was starting to come on. I had a little bit of this agitation that went with this anxiety. My mind was flipping from one task to another and one thing to another. And I really started to recall that this was quite common, my reality, when I was, vegan, particularly the last 2 years. And I'd also got up to go to the toilet more frequently. So this happened more on the third day. And then the fourth day, I just couldn't do it anymore. I did not want to continue with this anxiety because it actually set in more. And then the subsequent sleeps were just really, it was harder for me to go to sleep, but I'd keep waking up. Compare that to when I eat meat-based and very minimal plants. I mean, I might just have one cucumber if I feel like it, and some green lettuce or something, or medicinal herbs. I sleep like a baby. I'm just on my back and just, I'm out, you know, and I don't get up through the night. So it's an interesting thing because what I've noticed is coinciding with that is there are more vegans reaching out to me who are, upon questioning, are actually noticing their cognitive abilities aren't as sharp. They're having memory loss. They're putting it down to just having a very hectic life. They're on overload. They're on, technology a lot. They've got a lot to take in. And sure, we all get forgetful. That's quite normal. But when you're having difficulty retrieving information, blank spots start happening, brain fog, if you want to call it, or periods of you're just not sharp enough, to come to solutions that would come quite readily before. Now, this is happening in younger people. And some of the studies coming out now are showing that vegans are really on the forefront of early onset dementia. And people might challenge me on that, but it's happening. And I'm seeing it in reality. When I've got young people going, I actually am noticing my memory is not as good, or my mind it's not as clear and focused as it was. So they've got a comparison. So when you've got a whole bunch of young people telling me this, I go with the experience of the direct experience that these people are having. So this also anchors in more the fact that if we're not getting all these, DHA, EPA, fat-soluble vitamins, cholesterol, animal fats, our brain function is affected negatively and in the more noticeable ways. So, okay, we've got, the 5, well, it hasn't rolled out yet, but we've got other influences that are affecting us environmentally. A lot of people are finding they're becoming more sensitive to Wi-Fi technology, urbanization. They're not perhaps getting in nature anywhere like they could be and are supposed to be. Our ancestors were always in nature and, had their feet on the ground very often, bare feet. And not many people are doing that, particularly in cities. I know of people who do not go in nature at all. They only see nature on a screen. And it's so sad, but it's having a really direct effect on our own ability to neutralize some of these hazardous type of vibrations that are conflicting with the resonance of the earth, if you like. And it's our way of, because we're electrical beings ourselves, we're affected by that. So it's a way of neutralizing a lot of this other charges that are coming through our bodies. So, okay, taking that into account, but when people are noticing too the anxiety that's going with the memory loss as well, there's more anxiety than ever. And I know there's a lot of areas that can bring on emotional anxiety, of course, trauma and emotional challenges. People are having fear, the media peddling fear all the time. There's so much going on around, and a lot of people find that they're in prisons in their own mind with fear. However, my experience has been, not only with myself, but with others I've worked with, that high carb, high starch, high sugar diets are increasing people's anxiety levels by interfering with their blood sugar, their the cortisol production, so and that goes with sleep disorders as well. So that is very real. This is really happening, and I got to tell you, I was not surprised to have bloating and so forth, but the sleep and that anxiety coming back, not immediately, but within the second day, just really, I just wanted to escape from that, and go back. And within an hour of eating, beginning a day again with meats or fish or some animal foods, like a nice, I have pork belly, and that just satiates me now for 6 hours easily. And that's another thing with the vegan diet. When I went back onto it, I was starting to get hungry again every 2 hours. Or even now, I was thinking about food. What should I cut up and chop up? And should I have something sweet? Can I have maybe make a chocolate brownie or something? Maybe I'll go back into the kitchen and do my old vegan, preparation of food that used to take me ages, and using a minimum of 10 ingredients. So I was thinking of food all the time, and I was actually getting the urge to snack. And generally most vegans reach for something sugary or starchy. So I proved that. So I just don't want to go there. I don't want to be spending heaps on supplements and so-called superfoods, to have with these vegan meals, because really a piece of pork with so rich in leucine, so rich in other amino acids and fats, that beautiful fat, just satiated me, made me feel content and happy. And I feel so much more happier. And I'm hearing wonderful stories of people who've had clinical depression for quite a long time, and they've tried all various diets and as well as being on pharmaceutical drugs, coming off that, medical marijuana. That's not the story. I feel that people are more attracted to that as a way of quelling anxiety, but when carnivore diet can heal all that, because it really does annihilate a lot of anxiety and depression that people have been stricken with, for a good deal of their life. It's been an absolute savior for them, and there's a lot more stories and podcasts that people are sharing on that. So I hope this information was very helpful. You can do that direct experience yourself. But I certainly know that we're not meant to live with this low-level anxiety and pump all this high-carb, high-sugar foods into our diet. It is not how our ancestors lived. Even 60 years ago, we weren't. It's very sweaty and hot again because it's rainy season. It's humid here. So, so, we're not meant to be having this as fuel all the time, as much as these I was even believing the fact that we run on glucose continually. We need more sugar. But it is the fastest way to break down your adrenals, and next thing you're pre-diabetic and diabetic, and also things are going on. So, and the other thing I just thought I'd touch on was seeing some of these vegan doctors who are a bit older, Dr. McDougall and even Dr. McGregor, they're displaying kind of signs of dementia. Most people have picked that up. But not only do they have this grey pallor to their face and very washed out. It's very erratic and you know, I have an elderly father. You know, and I'm in my 60s, and I look at that and go, my God, I don't want to go down that path. Thank God I got saved from it. But is that where you really want to go? Is that the path of aging that you want to go down on a vegan diet? And I think with the chemicals now in foods and what they're doing now, in as much as with the vegan fake foods, that these early doctors, when they were younger, not these older doctors, but when they were younger in the early days, there wasn't the variety of fake vegan foods available now. And I think there's more of those sugary foods. But some of the statements that he was making were just completely ignorant of our history as a species and what we've survived on and thrived on evolutionary throughout history. It's quite, yeah, it is. It's quite surprising, really. But they want to stick to it. And he also broke some bones at 69, and that's what happens. You're going to have skeletal deterioration. So I'm nearly 63, so I certainly don't want to have that as my age, and it's not going to happen because I've taken the steps now to go back to my ancestral diet, and I'm thriving on it. Like I said, I've got muscle definition. I don't work out. There's no gym here. And that's another point I wanted to bring up. These other vegans saying, well, you need to work out every day to put muscle on. No, I've had muscle come back on my body, and I'm just walking and maybe bicycling. I mean, I used to do that when I was vegan, but I certainly wouldn't have this solid muscle appear. This has just come on. So, and people will see me in earlier videos, will see I've filled out. So, and my face is fuller, and it just happens. So, you know, anyone who brings up that argument, or they're vegan, they have to work out every day just to maintain some kind of muscle, but there's no definition in it, which is surprising. So, so that's where you don't want to be going. You don't want to be going down the road to sarcopenia and dementia. Two major things that really herald an early demise. So, all right, that's my little spiel for today, and I've got a couple of interviews just about ready, scheduled, and I'll be uploading those in the next week. So I'm looking forward to sharing those all with you. In the meantime, thank you so much